This is Fox 5 News Morning.
A Virginia family says their dog died because of a mistake made at a Petco store. I'm going to show you a picture of Sweet Colby. His family says that he was dropped off at a Petco in Chesterfield County in Virginia Friday for a routine grooming. But the owner, whose name is Allison Marks, says the store manager told her a groomer accidentally left Colby in one of the drying cages for too long. A vet says that Colby likely died of heat stroke. Petco says it is taking immediate action to investigate and understand this deadly situation. So that brings us to today's Health Watch. Risk that you might not have considered when taking your pet to the groomer. Dr. Eric Cryan with NoVa Mobile Vet is here to share some of those dangers. And welcome back to the show.
Pleasure to see you again.
You know, they were happy topics we were talking about before, but now this tragedy. How common are these dryer cages, first off?
You know, first of all, the thoughts and prayers of everyone at my practice, myself, go out to the family, you know, after a tragic loss like this. You know, drying cages are very common when most veterinary hospitals and boarding facilities. Why we don't do any grooming. Generally, the only grooming we do is shaving for surgery, like for myself. They're very, very common, but there are safety features that you can use. You know, most of the drying cages that I've been in are not cages themselves, but units that you put on that have inherent safety features where you can set the temperature, not put any heat on, or most importantly, just have a timer so they're not on continuously. And so if someone leaves, they would go out. And so you can have a policy where, you know, you only set it for a few minutes. But, you know, definitely when you're taking your pet to a grooming place, you know, like all veterinary hospitals, you want to be able to ask and see the facilities, you know, see who's, you know, taking care of your dog and what facilities they're using and what safety precautions they have.
You're absolutely right. I'll put myself in that category. They take my dogs to a back room. I've never even asked to go into the back room.
Right.
But it's your loved one going back there.
Absolutely. You should be able to ask and see whatever facilities, you know, be it to your kids or your fur kids, if they're going into a facility and, you know, getting treated with, you know, routine grooming or medical care, just like you would for a kid's daycare. You know, you want to be able to see the facilities. And most, you know, veterinary hospitals and boarding facilities, if they're, you know, above the water, they're going to be happy to show you, you know, the facilities they have and the safety precautions they have in place.
While we have you here as a vet, let me ask you about heat stroke. This is what Colby likely died of. The same sort of heat stroke that a dog or a child, for that matter, would suffer in a car.
Very, very similar. It's the same sort of tragic thing where, you know, someone forgets and leaves a pet or a kid in a car. And this time of the year, you know, it's very tragic when you hear about that. But basically in a similar situation where, you know, your body just can't compensate for the heat, you know, and with you know, a constant dry or being left in a car where you can't compensate, and where it's like just being in an oven or a greenhouse where it just keeps getting hotter and hotter in there.
In moving forward now, this case has already sadly come to this end, but what are the signs that you tell your clients to look for as far as a dog or a cat, for that matter, in distress because of heat?
Excellent question. You know, while the normal signs are mild things like panting, you know, you want to look for excessive, you know, lethargy. You know, you want to make sure a dog, when they're outside in heat like this, always has access to water and they have a cool place to recover. You know, when they're outside in the extreme heat and humidity that we have in the D.C. area, you know, certainly reminds us that being built on a swamp that, you know, we need to take extra precautions. And just like we need to stay hydrated and take breaks, you know, same thing for our canine friends. How
long would something, I don't know the time on Colby here, but how long would heat become a dangerous factor in a pet's life?
Good question. You know, there's going to be a variable factor. It's just like a person, you know, so it's going to be a function of heat and humidity. But when we have the heat advisories for people and they're saying stay indoors and watch your running, the same thing applies, you know, for the pets. And certainly just like with people, the very old, the very young, they're going to be more susceptible to the extreme heat and cold for that matter.
Such a tragic story. We hope it's the last one.
Hopefully.
Shine a light on this kind of issue. Dr. Eric Cryan is with the NoVa Mobile Vet. Folks, get in touch with you how?
You can visit our website at www.novamobilevet.com.
See? I did it to you.
I know, I messed up.
Okay, Tucker, over to you.
Allison, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is it true that dogs only sweat through their mouth?
They do have sweat glands, so that is kind of a myth, but they don't have the same capacity that people do. So the majority of their heat loss is through their panting. And so that's an excellent exchange where they can use their breath to you know, and panting to exchange heat.
So it takes them a little longer to cool off then?
Yeah, they don't have the same sweat glands, and plus they're generally wearing a big fur coat, unlike myself.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yeah, you're right about that. I hadn't thought about that. All right, forecast. Let's get to it. The good